Hey guys, Forever Retro 82. I'm going to record as I play and give you just my thoughts, insights, and things I like about the games. You guys know the drill by now. And I've thought, well, what would be a what wouldn't be a greater way than to start off the game than with one of the games I really wanted on the Turbografx 16 in the first place, but could never afford because the game just goes for stupid amounts of money on all fronts online and such. So instead of just, sitting here and wallowing in my own misery and how I can't ever obtain this fucking game, I'll go ahead and play it. But I will mention I did buy it for the Wii Virtual Console when it first came out. That being said, let me show off this wonderful gem. I'm going to let the intro play and then we'll get to the gameplay. Ah, such an awesome intro with good music, of course. Okay, so this is Soldier Blade, part of the Star Soldier series. I mean, just listen to those drums and the fucking composition going on right here. It revs you up. It makes you want to go ahead like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to blow some enemies to bits and get on with my game and put on my game face and, mess everything up. You get power-ups like you do in every other shooter. You start off with a little helper, and red is Vulcan, and as you can see, the more you collect, the more powerful it gets. I mean, you guys know shooters by now. And one thing about the Turbografx 16 that you must know is this system was the mecca for shooters. And here's your wave attack, and if you're like, ah, fuck that, you can get the Vulcan again. And if you get a combination of three, you can do something like this. You press the one button. Let me get some enemies. You can do that. But with the laser, you can do this. But unfortunately, that kills that particular ability or power-up off, which is unfortunate. I prefer the laser, because when this thing is fully powered, it does hella damage. And it's very useful. I mean, a lot of people pick Vulcan because Vulcan is a traditional shooter projectile, which is fine. I'm not going to knock you for it. But when this thing is forward powered like this right here, yeah, I mean, this is where, you got the power within your hands. I mean, you're playing with power. Alright, we got to fight a mid-stage boss. So what I like about the game, well, it's definitely really colorful. It's got some awesome graphics, fantastic music, play control spot on. It's very responsive. I mean, the only problem I have... Hold on. Yeah, and that was voice sampling on the Turbografx. The only thing I would have to say I dislike about the game, which I'm not going to show because it happens in later stages, is the difficulty ramps up pretty damn quick. It's almost to the point where it's just unfair as hell. I mean, spoiler alert, I never beat this game. I don't know if you want to call it a spoiler alert, but as you can see, it's your run-of-the-mill shooter, but trust me, it's a lot of fun, and with this pulse-pounding soundtrack, you can't go wrong with Soldier Blade. Yeah, I want to at least play each stage. Now, if you collect the same power-up that you have in your collection, and you collect another one, it acts as a bomb. So, you have an arsenal to take care of all the things that you need to in this game. I mean, I really like the use of color here. I like the graphics. I mean, for a high-end 8-bit system, you can tell that it is. That's an extra life, obviously, that sound. Stages are a little long, as you can probably tell. But, I mean, you have a decent amount of enemies to fight against. assorted. They all have their different fly types, fly styles, and patterns that you'll have to learn along the way. Now we get to fight the actual boss. I mean, this boss is kind of a pushover, really. I mean, you just gotta look out for his patterns. I mean, when he shoots his bottom part at you, that can, you know, cause you to lose a power-up. So I try to stay clear until I know I can hit him. That was close. Alright, now we gotta take out these two things. Yes, bosses in this game also have different parts you have to take out. I mean, each one is epic in their own right. All of them have, like, these different attack patterns, and it makes it for an epic fight each time. I mean, you'll never, like, be like, okay, that was a waste. But yeah, Soldier Blade, definitely worth your time. It's on the Wii Virtual Console. Pirate it if you have to. You won't get any fucking grief from me because I'm not a white knight of the gaming world. So next game. Our next game. Yes, it's another shooter. I'm going to show at least 3 of them on this video. But we'll get them out of the way. That way we can concentrate on the non-shooting aspect of Turbografx that I like. This is Blazing Lasers. Got it. So, yeah. Anyways, let's just get to stage gameplay for you. Now, you're going to notice a lot of simulators between this and what we just played, Soldier Blade. They all have different play styles, so, like, you get these little gems and they power up your weapon. And you also get, like, okay, I don't know if you all played any of those compile shooters, which I believe made this game, but I could be wrong. They have the number system of the power-ups you get, and different numbers give you different powers, as you can tell. Okay, as a shield. You get voice samples, too. They're not very good, but they're there. So you basically just pick what numbers you like. My favorite is the chain laser, which is this right here. And when this thing gets powered up, you can pretty much breeze through most of the game until you get to the final stages, which are extremely challenging. Alright, now this ain't fully powered up yet, believe it or not. It's close. You also got bombs and such, and you can unfortunately lose your power-ups just like you can in Soldier Blade. This is, you know, in some ways, this is like a, I would have to say like a spiritual sequel to Soldier Blade, even though it's made by a different developer. Now, the sound design is a little weak. The music's not bad. It's actually quite catchy and toe-tapping, but the sound effects are a little weak. Now, you notice I just got an extra life already. Let's see, what does 4 do? Yeah, 4 gives you these orbs. They're okay. I mean, they do the job, but I'd suggest just sticking with number 3, unless you have unless you prefer Vulcan, because like I said, a lot of people prefer the Vulcan shot. Now, as you can see, extra lives are easy and plentiful, but don't let that fool you. You're going to need them later on in the game, when the game starts to really ramp up. I mean, it has a more fair difficulty curve than Soldier Blade, at least in my opinion. I believe this could be a mid-boss. It's been a while since I played, so I might be a little hazy. I mean, it's a little too easy to be a main boss, so... You know, they took a lot of cues from Soldier Blade. Yeah, that was a mid-boss. And, they also released a sequel to Star Soldier called Superstar Soldier for the system as well. That game is even probably the hardest of all these kind of vertical shooters that are really released on a system, in my opinion. I couldn't get into it because of the difficulty. But, you know, there's plenty of people that think that game is a classic, and rightfully so, it is. It's just not my cup of tea, because it's just way too fucking difficult. I mean, and also, you know, this game has, like, I mean, the voice samples are nice, but I also noticed the colors are not eye-popping like they are in Soldier Blade, which is unfortunate, you know. But at the same time, it's still a blast to play. It's definitely worth your time by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's a shooter. I mean, you sit here and you blow the enemies up and you just try to complete it. I mean, it's fun stuff. I mean, if you just want a game to just play and not have to think of shit, this is definitely the way to go. Same thing with the game I showed before, Soldier Blade. I don't mean to repeat myself, but yeah. So, yeah, as you can tell, the stages are relatively long. Yeah, I would have to say that the Shield Thunder and the Homing Missile are the best. It's your best combination. I mean, you may vary with your playstyle, but this is my preferred method. Because I can just take out everything without even trying much. Okay, we're about to fight the boss. But yeah, it's definitely a very... This is an awesome game. It really is. It has a lot of similarities to this and Soldier Blade. I mean, both games are definitely worth your time. I just lost my power-up. Shit! That's okay, I got this. And I gained another life. You notice how you gain lives easier. Don't let that fool you, because later you're gonna lose all those motherfuckers. And there's like 8 stages, or is there 9? Somewhere around there. I've never beaten this, but I hope you can, and I hope you enjoy this game. It's really fun. Okay, we're gonna be looking at an arcade port, probably the best one, other than the Japanese CD version of Complete. Because a little trivia before I play this. This game was released in 2 parts on HuCards in Japan. There's R-Type Part 1, and there's R-Type Part 2. You had 4 levels per HuCard because they didn't have enough memory in either cards in Japan to release it in one full game. Now, the American version, which we're about to play, did. So you had both episodes on one HuCard, but you just didn't have the CD music, which is kind of unfortunate. But, you know, the HuCard does its job. And this is a brutal, brutal game. All R-Type games are brutal. You're only allowed with 3 credits unless there's a cheat code. But if you wanted R-Type, the experience closest to the arcade, this was the version to get. See, the HuCard does not sound bad at all. At least not in my opinion anyways. It sounds pretty damn good. It has the melodies and everything intact, so... And I just got blown the fuck up. I'm not very good at R-Type, I'll be honest, but it is one of my favorite shooters. Even though I can't beat any of them. Except 3. I beat 3 after a 12-hour binge. Because you have to beat that game twice. Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins style, which is unfortunate. I always hate that about those games, by the way. You shouldn't have to beat a game twice to see the ending. I mean, come on the fuck on. But whatever. But as you can see, all the enemies are accounted for. It has all the music and everything. I mean, this is R-Type. If you love R-Type, definitely the version. But as with everything else, it's expensive. Oh, fucking die, asshole. Alright, and... boom. Now, as in traditional arcade fashion, this game is not... the stages aren't that long. We get some missiles now. So now we got a full arsenal, and you can launch your You know, I don't even know what the fuck that thing's called. Your option. Let's just call it an option. Now we have a full powered laser. Now this laser is definitely helpful on a lot of situations in this game. But you pick your poison. Alright, now we face the first boss, the Gladiator. Now if you're good at this, you can do this in like 2 powered shots. But it took me a couple. Alright, well that's R-Type. Definitely a great game. I own it on the Wii Virtual Console because I could never afford it in real life. But play it. It has every arcade stage, all the music, all the gameplay that you come to love about R-Type, or any horizontal shooters. With that being said, let's cut the shooters and let's go to actual other games that are on the system other than shooters. I just thought I'd get these out of the way. Not to say that they're the weakest links, not at all. They're great games, especially if you love shooters like myself. Alright, now this one's a doozy. This is basically, this is Legendary Axe. You can probably tell by the screen tear right there. And I mentioned in my other video, my story video, that this was considered the Golden Axe killer. Now, this plays more like Ashton Axe, and there is some trivia to be had with that statement. One of the original developers of Ashton Axe made this game. So that's why there's a lot of similarities between the two, as you will soon see. But anyways, let's get started. Now, I suck ass at this game, but I'll try to beat the first level. If you want my honest opinion, though, it looks more like Rastan. If you ever played that in the arcade. I made an arcade video in my early years, if you want to know what that game is, or if you have a MAME, you can play it yourself and get pissed because that game is brutally difficult. But so is this one. Yeah, you can't climb up ropes. You can slide down them, which is kind of dumb. But if you go down here and you fight this spider, you get some power-ups that will definitely help you out for the remainder of the stage. Yeah, chop off his legs. I'm pretty sure most of you probably done this in real life, because I know how everyone hates spiders. I'm probably the only person who likes them in the world today, or ever. Well, that's not true. I used to be scared to death of spiders. But yeah, you can get some power-ups. Now, okay, you see up there in the top there, that's your charge gauge, much like Ashton Axe. And of course, you get diamonds for score. So if you go the bottom path, you do get some power-ups that can help you out during those adventures. Your adventures. You know, it has a nice pace to it. Nice flow. Yeah, you know, it's your yeah, I mean, don't let the looks fool you. This game ramps up in difficulty starting on the next stage. It's ridiculous. But it's your standard platformer. You just gotta time everything. But this was an awesome game during the launch window of the Turbografx. This should have been the pack-in. Okay, this is all you guys do is jump, obviously. Alright, boss time. I think this boss tune is kind of goofy, but that's just my opinion. Okay, one's down. There we go. So you repeat that at least 6 more times, and then you see the end. Unfortunately, I never saw the end. I know this is a little vague description, but of this game, but it's awesome. I like the graphics. I like the music. It's very catchy. It has very catchy melodies to it, especially this tune. I'll let you hear this for a minute before I move on. See, catchy stuff. Very awesome game, high-end challenge. If you want one, you can't go wrong with Legendary X. It's it looks fantastic. It sounds great. Plays the part. Really cool game. Like I said, this should have been the packing game. This showed off a lot better aspects in terms of gameplay than, say, Keith Courage. But I guess, you know, words can't speak enough about that game. I might as well just show it. Alright, here we got Bonk's Revenge. Let's see this cute little intro. Now, you probably noticed I didn't put Bonk's Adventure on here. And that's because that game is good, but the sequel, of course, is better. And, you know, you also have this. You can practice by playing Stage 1 game, or you can play the complete game on Expert, which I will admit takes a lot of practice to get through. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to go to the practice, so I can show you the first stage. But just look at the colors and vibrance. I mean, everything looks so beautiful. I mean, the sprites look great. It's really, really clean. And of course, you can do this. You can climb up waterfalls. Yes! You can collect butterflies. I mean, I know it looks all simple and all, but I can promise you it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is just a charade of what happens later in the game where you have to deal with a bunch of bullshit. So we just make our way up this cliff top and collect stuff. What I really like about it is colors. The colors are just amazing. It almost looks like a cartoon. Like, in terms of graphic detail and fidelity, it looks fantastic. Fuck! So yes, like I said, the levels are very expansive. They go on for a while. I mean, we're still on the first stage, technically. Take your bug catcher and shove up your ass, you piece of crap. You stupid net. Fuck off. What is this, Link to the Past? And of course, meat makes you go crazy. If you get the big meat, you go crazy. It's like your star power. But your attacks go higher up when you just get one piece of meat. I don't understand that. I don't know why meat makes him crazy, but... And of course you can lose it just like Mario. With the star power and all that. Fuck off. These dudes are lazy. They sleep all the time. You notice that? That's kind of the Adventure Island motif, too, by collecting, you know, fruits and such. Ah, bitch. Get out of my way, mofo. Yep, we're still in the first stage. Okay, those boulders can fuck right off. They piss me off in this game. Or in any game with boulders suck. Can you tell me a game that has boulders and it's actually good? Now he goes crazy. Like I said, that's a star power. And then, you know, you can't get hit or take damage. Get up there, you bastard. Damn it, I could have been at high power for a while, but... Oh, we get boner stages. Yay! Yeah, you get the flower, you get boner stages. It's kind of like the Adventure Island bonus stages, you know, where you collect shit. Ah, fuck. I suck at ice stages in video games. All of them. Ah, you motherfucker. Let me go, you bitch! So as you can tell, enemies have their own attack schematics. These dragon dinosaur motherfuckers piss me off. As you can probably tell. Get out of here. Fuck off. Yep, still the first stage. Like I said, all the Bonk games are sincerely long. But as long as it may be, they're also really fun. I mean, it's your simple platformer with a little bit of humor thrown in. I mean, come on, you're basically a dude or a kid with a big fucking head. And you chew your way up cliffs and stuff. I mean, come on, what is there not to like? You know, if you like Adventure Island, this will definitely fit the bill for your love for Adventure Island. I'm not going to do the other bonus stage. Fuck. And if you press the B button a lot when you go down, you flip around and it slows down your descent, which is also very handy. Extra life. Oh, come on, can I get that? Fuck! Ah, well. As you can see, Bonk has tons of abilities. He can bash things with his head and do a lot of stuff with it. I mean, it's an odd attack, but it does the job. I was very happy to find this game because I really like adventure, but for some reason I like this more because it's a lot longer and the challenge is a little bit more apparent. And I never, like I said, I've never beaten it, but it's still fun, and I hope to beat it sometime. And this is your gateway to the boss. It's like that in the first game, too. Might as well put something familiar. And the music's the same, as well as Adventure. Ah, fuck off. It's a very simple boss, as you can tell. Once you learn this flip thing with your head, it's easy. Your only problem is these goddamn fucking volcano rocks that come falling from the sky. You gotta dodge them to the best of your ability. Drat! That's right, I won. Yep, so you get your victory music, and then you move on to the next stage. That's how it works. And then, of course, the queen from the first game tells you, now you're intermediate level, so you can, you know, play you can play the intermediate, or you can just go straight to expert and play the entirety of the game. Which you know, if you want practice, those 2 modes are great, but once you get the hang of it all, you know, play for the whole experience, you'll have a great time. They're going to be long as shit, though. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They're going to be extremely long, and you got to devote a lot of time to them, and they get very difficult very quickly. But awesome game, great use of color, catchy music. It's Bonk, for fuck's sake. Hey, Konami, bring Bonk back, assholes. Oh, and also got it. Alright, here we go. The launch title for the Turbografx 16. It's actually based off an anime, I think, if memory serves me. I mean, just listen to that music. That should set the tone right away, like, oh fuck, this game's gonna suck. You go around with this little tinky little sword and you attack shit. And of course you can go in certain doors, and they're like shops. Okay, aren't you? Okay, fuck off. He's just like, I'm the master, weapon master, I'll sell you some shit. Okay, so do you have anything for sale? Obviously not. This is considered the light zone. And the namesake is right, because this is light and shitty. I mean, come on, try to imagine yourself as a kid right now. And this is what you got with this game. I mean, you would think, okay, it looks like kind of like Wonder Boy in Monster World. It lacks the charm. And this music sounds like old Western dog shit. But of course, with every bad side of a game, there's also a good. Which is what we're about to see. Now, seeing that as a kid, I'd think, oh, hell yeah. You're a mech, you move fast, and you attack it. I mean, I don't know, this feels like, I don't know, a game worth playing at now? So why do you have to play the fucking shitty parts? Why can't it just be this? This would have been a better aspect. The enemies in this game are fucking weird. Like, that guy has a revolver on his head. Of course, you got skulls. Some of the enemies just come at you without hesitation. They're just like, whack! Now, this game has nice colors, but it has very dreary backgrounds. Like, there's nothing really to look at here. I mean, like I said, I played this maybe 3 times in my life. I could never beat it because it's long. But at the same time, it gets dull pretty quick. I mean, this part's cool, but like every game that you're like, wow, the novelty wears off pretty fast. So we make your way down this cavern, and basically we fight a boss just like every other game of this type. Okay, you can stop running into me, you motherfucker. I mean, what kind of design choice is that? Oh, let's have a guy put a revolver on his head. Alright, boss with 1 hit. Yeah, I'm not gonna do well here. Well, you've seen the first stage. So, I mean, let me know in the comments what you think of Keep Courage in the Alpha Zones. I personally don't like it. The second part's cool. It looks okay, but not for a packing game. Not in any way, shape, or form. It's definitely the weakest packing game next to Wii Sports. Even though Wii Sports did show what the Wii was capable of, it was more or less a glorified tech demo. Moving on. Alright, this is going to be a short finale for this video here. I'm going to load another game that kicks ass. It's mine. I just did a stream of this game last week. got CD-ROM music and other things. So, I mean...
Think back to your worst nightmare.
Alright, we're skipping the intro, though, because we don't need that. Now, as you can probably tell, the scrolling is very limited here, but the gameplay's fine. It pretty much copies a lot from the Genesis version. But we're going to go to the beginning, and I'll show you the intro movie, at least. Part of it, anyways, because part's funny. To me, anyways. I mean, compare this to East 1 and 2's voice acting. This is abysmal.
Hey, Adolf! Smell that fresh sea breeze? The ship is in top shape. We're ready to shove off.
Now, that used to be a running joke and meme with me and my friends. Alright, that's as far as that intro I'm going to show. Where, you know, we would let, like, a massive fart, and then be like, hey, Dan, or hey, Mike, you smell that fresh sea breeze? So as you can tell, I mean, you can actually tell from just the visuals to this game that it's not 16-bit. I mean, this does look very 8-bitish. But don't let that fool you, it's still a fantastic port. I want to fast forward this, but I don't think this way of showing it will allow me to do that. Now, this is actually using the hue card music instead of the actual... or the, I'm sorry, the internal sound processor instead of the CD-ROM music that you will hear. I wish there was a way to skip this, guys. I'm sorry. It's like, come on. We know this shit. Here, I'll tell you what. We'll cut it off and I'll record as soon as this bullshit intro is over.
What do you think? Do you like my town?
Oh, excuse me.
Hey, why don't you look where you're going?
Say, aren't you Dogie?
Elena? I barely recognized you.
Dogie, you haven't changed a bit.
Very funny, Elena. Tell me, how's your brother, Chester?
I haven't seen him in the last few months. I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry.
After so many years, we finally meet again, and now you've got to run? Adolf,
Yeah,
I'm going ahead
wonderful
to the
acting, isn't it?
See you later.
It's so bad. It's so cringy and bad. This is early CD-ROM days. It was customary. It's like, okay, you just had voice acting. Now we gotta resort to text. Come on. I'm just gonna show you this first part and we'll call it a vid. But, because if you want to see the vid more, so play the, or see my stream of the Genesis version. Not to say this version is bad, but I will tell you this. Look at the background. It's very choppy. That's because Turbografx 16 didn't have many layers of parallax scrolling, so they had to like use software, like a software mode or something. But let's go in the shops, listen to the music. It's catchy. The hue card does have, or I shouldn't say the hue card. The internal musics in games are great, and the hue card. On some games it's shit, I'll agree, but most games, they're awesome. But you guys want to hear the CD-ROM music, so I'm going to show you, be careful. So what do I like about this version of the game? Well, the CD-ROM and the cheesy acting, and it's Ys 3. And there's really no bad of Ys games out there. If you hear a dog in the background, I apologize. We're babysitting my roommate's dog. And she's having anxiety because her mommy's gone for now. He's chasing dick right now. But anyways, that's besides the point. Alright, so we go to equipment. Let's load our shit. It's pretty much the same. I just want to show you guys some of the music real fast, and then we'll be done.
Monsters! They came out of nowhere. Mayor Grady is still trapped in the mine. Someone must rescue him. Who are you?
Notice Adel doesn't have a voice.
A miner called Harvey already went to look for Grady, but we haven't heard from him since he entered the mine.
Oh my god. Yeah, Adel doesn't have a voice. He's like Link. He has a text dialogue, but he doesn't have a voice dialogue. Alright, now we get the CD-ROM music. Alright, so here's the level area select music. Unfortunately, we'll go here. I mean, maybe one day, if you guys requested enough, I could play this version. Now, here you go. Here's some jams for you. It's not God tier like Oath of Felgana, but it's pretty damn close. It's good shit. But as you can tell, the background, it's not very smooth in the scrolling department. I mean, I love this version, but I still have to recommend the SNES and Genesis versions. Anyways, we'll cut the crap. So now we can hear the cave music. I mean, as you can tell, it's the same. The sound effects are a little low volume compared to the CD soundtrack, unfortunately. That was the problem with a lot of CD-ROM games. I mean, you got guitar, and drums, and of course, synthesizers. I mean, this and the SNES version of the game are so much easier than the Genesis version, because if some of you watched my stream, and some of you that haven't, I will tell you right now that I struggled hard on the Genesis version, because the collision detection on the final boss was absolute nightmare in quality. I mean, one day I need to, like, show me beating these games, like, at least the final boss one. But yeah, I used to play the fuck out of this. This was a game Connie bought me on my birthday the following year after I got my Turbografx 16. She got it at a comic shop. They were selling it for a measly $10. So I was very, very happy. I mean, but you know, I'm like, I don't have a CD-ROM drive, and then Dan looks at me with a look, and he's like, thanks, Scott. I was like, oh, Magic Engine, right? It has CD-ROM playback. He's like, there, it finally clicked in your measly little brain. I'm like, fuck you, Dan. My brain works a little slower than some people. But yeah, this is some great-ass tunes here. Yeah, like I said, it's not, you know, Alpha Felgana, you know, tier, but it's pretty damn close. For some reason, my jump button's not working shit, but that doesn't matter. The point is, I wanted to show off this game for a bit. You can't really go wrong with any E3 version you play. Like I said, some of the dedicated fans of the series don't really like this version because it's side-scroll, while the other ones were bump and grind. That being said, though, I'm going to go ahead and call the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed seeing these games in action and hearing my thoughts and feelings on some of these games. One thing you should do is definitely check some of these out. And there's plenty to be seen on the Turbografx. I mean, my only regret is the American division of NEC marketed this thing very poorly, so it didn't get the exposure it deserved. In Japan, though, PC Engine was as loved as the NES or Famicom was. So that should tell you right there that their marketing division knew what they were doing over there, but over here they were just, they just didn't give a shit. But, yeah, let me know of your opinions down below, and tell me if there's any Turbografx 16 games you loved when you were a kid, or if there's some that you play to this day, some games you couldn't beat, or whatever. I love to hear your stories, as always. Anyways, I'm Forever Retro 82. Keep loving, keep gaming, and keep it retro. I hope to see you soon. You probably will. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thank you for watching my video. If you'd like to see your name with these fine folks that have donated to my channel, feel free to check out my Patreon and throw me a couple dollars, and I'll throw your name up with these fine people. Or not. It's entirely up to you. I hope you have a great day, and thank you for dropping by.